Hey folks, was scrambling to get here on time and it looks like I succeeded. Here we are, April 16th, fourth class of this live stream series that we're going to be doing until who knows when. But I'm enjoying it. Hopefully you are enjoying it too. Got a little Mr. Rogers thing going on, putting my shoes on in front of you. This is as good a time as any to do a little housekeeping. So, as many of you know, every week we whatever we make above the cost of the studio rental, we donate to a local Arizona arts organization. And this time around, Southwest Folklife Alliance has set up a fund for artists, an emergency relief fund. So any money that we give to them today from this video or from this class is going to go to help artists who are not able to gig. Many of you are probably in that boat yourselves. All the more special that you would take the time to give to those people as you see the need. So there's that. I noticed I never bother talking about what my other social media platforms are. So rather than just recite them to you, they'll be in the description of this video if you want to check those out. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, I like to put little previews out so that you can see what I'll be working on maybe that following weekend or something. Some of you who are interested in intermediate advanced material, I've been trying to put out stuff that could keep you focused and busy during your quarantine. And hopefully that's been good for you. Again, if you have comments, suggestions about the type of material you'd like to see, please do let me know. I do take that stuff seriously, and I do want to make sure that you're getting what you need and what you'd like to have. If you want to give the website to give $7 donation for the class, or I shouldn't say donation, but contribution, is also in the description for this video. One other thing. So I am going to take the opportunity, this quarantine is an opportunity to offer private lessons to anybody who's interested. So my email address is in the also in the description of this video. It's flamencodpv@gmail.com. If you're interested in a Zoom one-on-one, why don't you reach out to me and we can see about making that happen. Is everybody seeing this horizontal view? Lorraine's present. I'd expect nothing less. Thank you, Lorraine, for roll call there. Let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? Let me get into your view here. I guess I'm going to be a little bit further back today, but I'm going to have to shout. Let me see to make sure that everybody can see. Yes, everybody's good. You can see this in landscape. And let me maybe put this out a little bit further so you can see my feet a little bit better. Today I'm going to take this opportunity to move around in space for some of our exercises, which is one reason I like the landscape option. So for right now, forget about all the other stuff out there, all the quarantine nonsense, and let's just stand with our feet together and stand firm and stand strong. And what I mean by that is relax in the place where you're standing. Don't feel like you have to move. Don't feel like you have to move for anybody or anything. And take this time and dedicate this moment just to what you're doing right now, to focus, to enjoy yourself, okay? And let's take some breaths. Deep belly breath is always nice. Fill it up like a balloon. And out. Now fill your whole torso, your chest, your belly, your back, with a nice deep breath. Another breath. Great. Let's take our focus over to the side here just to get a nice stretch. Start warming up the neck, side to side. Stand nice and tall. Never forgetting to breathe. Through all these exercises, always breathing. Holding your breath doesn't really accomplish anything that I can think of, other than bringing you closer to passing out than you were before. Now let's go up, chin to the ceiling, chin to the chest, looking down. Chin to the ceiling, chin to the chest. Chin to the ceiling, and down. 10 circles, all the way around. I feel loose today, which is nice. I've got a little thing in my right side of my neck this past couple of weeks, and I think it's gone. And this is at your own pace. Go as fast or as slow as you want. And I'm going to switch directions. You don't have to. But when you're ready, please do switch directions. Good, feet apart. Let's hug. Give yourself a big hug, chin to the chest. And sink into your weight. Push the pelvis forward and bend the knees. And then do the opposite. Open to the sky. Hold on to your core, but open up the chest and the neck and the throat, and then collapse again. Think of this as inflating and deflating. So now I'm going to inflate and deflate. And make it happen from the core first. So first my body opens, then everything else follows. Meaning, when I say my body, I mean my trunk. And my trunk collapses, then everything else follows. This is what's meant by moving from your core, moving from the center first. Think about yourself as just a spine. And everything your spine does, your limbs are just following suit. Up and collapse. All right. Before we start circling our arms, let's do this one. Left under right or right under left, it's up to you. And then cross your hands and clasp your fingers. Then pull your elbows downward. This will give you a nice stretch on the backs of your shoulders. If you're super flexible right here, you might not get as much of a stretch as I'm getting, but I'm not particularly flexible in the shoulders, so I like it. And then slowly I'm going to release and then reverse. So I'm going to intertwine them like a couple snakes. Clasp the fingers, pull the elbows down, chest open. And very slowly release. I'm gonna put praying hands together behind my back here and just kind of walk them up until I can touch my palms together. If you're not able to do that, this will suffice. Try both grip, right over left and then left over right, just to make sure you get an equal stretch in both shoulders. I'm going to go ahead with this because I like it. And if I feel like it gets into the shoulder muscles, the smaller ones that are hard to get to and stretch out. Then I'm going to release. Shake out your arms a little bit. Relax your shoulders. Big arm circles back behind you, reaching through the fingertips all the way back. All the way forward and then all the way back. Hold on to your core. So notice even though my chest is opening up, my tail is not retracting, which is the tendency. A lot of times when somebody does this, this will be what they end up doing, but you want to keep your pelvis underneath you the whole time, even if your upper body is expanding and contracting. Keep your pelvis underneath your shoulders. And then let's reverse that. So I'm going to go back and over the top. Now I'm really holding on to my abdominal muscles lower down. So when people think of holding on to your abdominal muscles, sometimes you're thinking of the six pack, but I'm thinking even lower than that. And here on the insides and down even lower. It's your lower abdomen that you're trying to grab. And sometimes you might not be able to feel it right away. It's something you have to develop. I have a video in previous, on my channel, previous video, where I talk about how you start to find what it feels like to engage your lower abdominals. So keep those engaged even as you're reaching back behind you and reaching forward, like so. And don't let that pelvis, don't let your tail retract behind you like a duck. All right. If you need a chair or something to hold on to, you can. But if you're able to do this just standing up, let's give yourself a quadricep and hip flexor stretch here. Some people like to go full out yoga and put your hand in front of you here or up in the air. It helps balance sometimes. You can, it's up to you. They taught my daughter at school to hold your ear, which surprisingly works. And then a switch. I feel if you kind of push your pelvis forward a little bit and keep your thighs squeezed together, that helps. All right, then I'm gonna hug my knee. Again, if you need like a high stool or a chair or something to help you balance, that's fine. Balance is not necessarily the point of this. It's really just getting the stretch. You might find yourself wobbling around like I'm doing right now. But you'll find your place of stability sooner or later. Good. Now last week we worked a lot about freeing up the torso, okay? And of course that's always going to be something we include in our warm-ups. But let's think about focusing on our hips today and hip movement, especially for guys, because a lot of guys walk as though they don't have hips, almost like Frankenstein. You know, your hips don't move when you walk. But if you're releasing, you relax, your pelvis will naturally rock this way. And if you recall, put your feet together and bend one knee and just relax into that hip. That's essentially the kind of motion that allows you to manipulate your hips and move your hips, okay? So let's start with our feet about shoulder width apart. Initially, I'm gonna start flat with my upper body, and I'm not gonna move in space this way. I'm just gonna move my hip. I'm just gonna push into my hip here, and then the other side. Now I'm not just pushing, but I'm also bending one knee and straightening the other leg. So if I bend, if I straighten my right leg and bend my left knee, I'll automatically sit into this hip if I'm relaxed in my hip joints. And if I straighten my left and bend my right, I'll automatically sit in that hip. So that's what I'm talking about. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now let's go corner. So I'm gonna push my hip to this corner and to that back corner. So I'm gonna go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm moving my hips on a diagonal, tilting on a diagonal. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, other side. Now we're going to go forward here and back. 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now let's take our hips in a circle. Still feet shoulder width apart. Still standing up nice and tall, still engaged in your lower abdominals. And we're gonna go, you can go either direction, whatever direction you want, but you're gonna circle. Now I like to pretend like if there was a magic marker tied to the end of if my tailbone were extended to the floor and it was dipped in ink, then I'm drawing a little circle on the ground with my tailbone. And I'm doing that by manipulating my, my pelvis, like so. Try to get every little, you're not missing any part of the circle. If you find there's a place where you kind of find yourself sticking, think about it for a second, say, how do I push into that area? And then push through it. Other direction, let's go the other direction. So still drawing a circle on the ground with my tailbone. I know it's an odd image, but I come up with a lot of those. They've helped me. Maybe they'll help you. Okay, good. Let's work with our feet together. I'm going to step out, push into my hip, and then back. And then sit back into this hip. Step out, push forward, feet together, and sit into this hip. Out, forward, together, back. Out, forward, feet together, switch. 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 Now that's a way of holding the groove for a second. So it would be like doing this if I were up to speed. We've done this before, right? Fabulous. For example, you can also just let your hip go right away. Pa and pa. As soon as you step forward, your hips go. I want you to know how to do both, right? Forward, 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 back, forward, back, forward, back. Turn your feet out a little bit. Back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. E, ba, e, ba. Okay, since we got all this space, let's do some hip movement stuff side to side. So I'm going to start over here, and I want you to practice this. Maybe you have a small studio. If that's the case, let's say this is the amount of space you have right here. You can just do this a couple of times, and then go in the other direction, like so. What I'm doing is, I'm sitting in this hip, and I'm putting my foot out here. Almost all my weight is in this hip. Then I'm pushing my pelvis through, and I'm doing a little ball change there. Okay? So I come here, and then I go ball change. So commit to getting your hips there, and switch and sit into this hip. Okay? Let's try that together. I'm going to do it very slowly, and I'm going to do it back and forth. And you can do it back and forth, however much room you have is fine. So I'm going to go here, ba, 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 ba. Stay up on your toes. Ba, 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 ba. I'm going to go the other direction. Ba, 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 ba. I'm switching. E, ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Other direction. Up on the toes, weight on the insides of the feet. Ba, 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 ba. Now let's continue to do that, but we're going to take, who remembers what this position is? First position, in case you didn't know. I'm going to check some comments real quick. So in case anything's going wrong, everything's going right. Okay, good. By all appearances. Alrighty then. First position, cross one wrist over the other, elbows up, chest open, and I'm coming here. Ba, 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 ba. Let those hips loose, and another direction. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, other direction, ba, 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 ba. Okay, good. Hopefully that made some sense to you. Ask questions about that in the comment section if you have any. And when we get around to questions later on in the class, I'll address some of those. Since we're moving side to side in space, let's do a grapevine step today. Not only are we going to do the grapevine step, but I'm going to show you how to corner for a grapevine step, because there's a special way in flamenco to corner your pelvis and the body. So first of all, let's build from the ground up. If you recall, there's different ways to corner. And when I say corner, I'm talking about your body's own corner. So if this is my front plane, it's like if I'm in a box, right? A big long box. And then my corners are the corners of that box, right? So if this is me flat and I want to corner my shoulders in line with the corners of this box, I would have to rotate my spine. So my pelvis would stay here and I'd rotate it, right? So we're going to do that same thing, but now we're going to get even more cornered, meaning now my pelvis is on a slight corner, which means if I'm looking flat and in my pelvis, this is the corner for my pelvis, when I do my spinal rotation, my upper body is even further torqued, okay? And I'm going to take a 7 position. You're probably not going to see my base arm very much, but if you did, it would be right here. Pushing forward, open chest, elbows high. So let's start from the base again. My hips are on my own personal corner. Then spinal rotation takes my shoulders even further. And I'm going to get this nice long 7 position out in front of me. My hand right here should be in line with my center line. And base arm here on the hip, elbow pushing forward. Okay, so this is your starting position when we do a grapevine step across the floor. And all a grapevine step is I step out, and then I cross with my front foot, then I step out again, and I cross with my back foot. So, in other words, I cross behind. So I go side, cross front, side, cross behind. Okay? Let's try just that in this position across the floor. So I'm going to start here. Corner your hips or pelvis. Rotate the body. Give me a nice strong 7 position standing tall. And I'm going to step out, cross front, step out, cross back. Step out, cross front, step out, cross back. Step out, cross front, step out, cross back. Okay. Couple things before I give you the other side. You want to try to be up on your plantas. You can drop your heels every once in a while, but because this is going to be a really active step where you're moving in space, you have to be up on your toes just like a boxer or any athlete would be, because if you need to stop on a dime or you need to spring, you need to be up on your toes. You can't, you're wasting a lot of time and energy if you're resting back on your heels during that time. There are times when you can rest on your heels, especially for aesthetic, or when you're just grounding your body, for a soleá, for example, and you can just relax everything and just feel heavy. That's a really good time to relax your heels down on the ground. But something more active, you're usually going to be up on the balls of your feet. So let's try that again, keeping that in mind. So now my hips on the corner, my body's rotated, nice strong 7 position, and I'm going to be up slightly off my heels off the ground. Step out, cross forward, step out, cross behind. Step out, cross forward, step out, cross behind. And switch. So now, hip on my own personal corner here, body, spinal rotation, torque further than the hips, nice strong 7 position here, up on the toes. Step out, cross forward, step out, cross back. Step out, cross forward, step out, cross back. All right? Now I'm just going to go back and forth. I want you to do the same. If you only have, again, this much room, keep it small, and then switch. You don't have to be in time with me, okay? Very important. Don't feel like you're having to catch up with me, because right now we're working at a finer detail technique level. So I'm not expecting rhythmic integrity or anything like that at the moment, okay? So here we are, ready to go. Go along with me. I'm just gonna go side, front, side, back. Use me as your template. And when I get to the end, I'm gonna switch. I'm kind of watching the camera here. Make sure I'm not out of your purview. This is a really good time to squeeze your thighs. It'll give you stability, especially when you're crossing in thighs. If you feel like you're a little bit wobbly, sometimes squeezing the backs of your thighs together will really fix that situation for you. When you come to the end of how far you can go toward one side, you can drop your heels just to give yourself a little rest, because I know it can be taxing on the arches. Soft knees, soft joints, strong thighs, and a good strong upper body position. Formula for success. Okay, check it out. Anybody have any questions about that stuff? Questions, comments, complaints? Let's see if we got any. What we got here? Got some good people here today. Any new people from around the world? By the way, Tucson, you know I love you. I love you immensely. So don't feel left out just because I'm giving shouts out to all these people across the world. We're about, how far are we in now? We're almost at the halfway point. We're good on the comments, so let's continue. Oh, just got a comment, let's see. When you transition from one side to the other, is there a head placement we should be aware of? That is an excellent question. Would that be a marcaje step? Another excellent question. So the first one I'm going to answer from JPJ Humphreys. When you transition, your head should be placed. Right now, I'm kind of looking straight forward in a way and getting my body in place because I'm checking my technique in the mirror. That's a legitimate thing to do. But if you're actually dancing and presenting in front of an audience, now you're not looking at yourself anymore. So now it's more about cornering your focus according to your body. So if I'm doing this and I'm teaching it, and I'm showing you how to corner your body, and I'm checking myself in the mirror while I'm doing it, that's going to put my focus straight forward. But if I'm performing, my focus is going to go slightly over that shoulder. They might actually end up being the same thing. It just depends on how far I'm going. I could be here, for example, and my focus really goes over my left shoulder. The more I turn my body, the more my head goes, because I'm using my shoulder, this area right here, as my point of reference. So you see, wherever I turn here, I'm keeping it there. So if I'm going this way, more or less I'm focusing over this front shoulder. And then as I'm coming this way and I'm cornered this way, I'm keeping my focus over that shoulder, if that makes sense. Then somebody else asked if this is a marcaje. Yeah, it certainly can be. Especially think of tientos or farruca, something that works in fours, where you're moving very slowly. So this is a perfect step. I use this for farruca all the time. You're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For example, it's a great step. It's a great marcaje. Right now, it's really just an exercise, but you can take most of these exercises and make a marcaje or some kind of step out of it. That's the beauty of all this stuff. It's like these are components of tools that you'll use, not just technique, but also like aesthetic tapestries that you can weave using these different tools, if that makes sense. Somebody else had a question. Let me look at that. Moving to Tucson from California. Yvette Merced. Looking forward to meeting you. All right, folks. That's the halfway point. This would be a good time to get some water. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to set up some solo compás today so you can have tientos, escobilla compás put together with the footwork that we've done so far, and then I'll add on to that. If this is your first time doing this class, there's 3 other classes before this. The first 2 maybe have an opening llamada for tientos. That's like your very first big opening step in your solo. And then there's an escobilla, which is a footwork section, which is what we're working on right now. So if you need to catch up, you can through those. And I've also made a llamada video that you can learn the steps very slowly, bit by bit. And I'm going to do the same thing with this footwork pattern that we're going to be working on once it's finished. Maybe finished today, I hope so, but I'm not sure if we'll get there or not. You never know. Let me put on that compás and then we'll get going. Oh, except I don't have it, do I? All right, did you get your water? Good. Let's go ahead and I'm going to show you the escobilla that we're working on, and then we'll review it a little bit, and then we'll add on a little bit, okay? This is a tangos tempo that I'm using because the tientos one is very difficult to connect all this stuff to without the guitar. The guitar really kind of ties it all together. Without that, it gets real fuzzy. This one has steady palmas in it, or steady beats. So I'm just taking tangos and slowing it way down, which is kind of what tientos is like anyway. So I'm going to put that on and we're going to review it. So that's what we've done so far. It got a little dirty there for me for a second. I missed a step or two, but that's the idea. I'm going to show you the same thing in reverse now. Now to the beat, just in case you need a little refresher, and then we'll move on. So I'm going to gather myself here or here. It's up to you. That's it in a nutshell. That last step, somebody had a question about that last step, last class. Instead of doing it 4 times, you're going to do it 3, but I'll show you what that step is. So if I do, after I do that little Yamada type step here, I'm going to go here, jump on that, then I'm going to go walk, walk, and this is 1, okay? So this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. And on the 1, it's toe heel, which is toe, heel, jab, toe, heel. And then a golpe on the left side. Then on the right side, I repeat it. So left, right, left, right. Okay? And since I did here, ba, ba, here. As that heel comes forward is when the arm comes forward as well, down. So I go ba, 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 e, ba, ba. This one's already here, so then here. So notice how I hold it. Here, put the planta down. So let's all try that together. Let's get that going. I'll do it the other direction. You go. Actually, I think more accurate, when you put your heel down and you're sitting into your hip, that's when the arm comes down. So this is what I mean. If I just came forward and I'm here, as I put this heel down, that's when the arm comes down. Keep it going. I also like to hold my hands until the arm comes down. It gives it. What you're trying to do with a step like this is get things to harmonize. So if I'm here and I put this down, the sound is going ba, it's falling, right? So I want to fall with many different parts of the body. So not only am I sitting into my hip and bringing my arm down, but I'm also closing the hands. So case in point. So I'm moving it a little bit, right? Suspension, you're building tension, and you let it go. Moving on, okay? I'll put it all together here in a second. So we're gonna do 3, as I said. We did ba, 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 e. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3. And we're going to put that foot down. So we go 1, 2, 3. Right foot down. Other direction. And let's go ahead and corner the body. Keep the arms up here. 5, 6, 7, 8. D, ta, ta, ti, ta, ta, di. All right. In compás, 5. Well, let me put the music on the rhythm. Let's take it from the Yamada-like step. So we go, ah, 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 ee, bum, bum, ee, yeah, ah, ee, ee, ah, ee. To finish the compás. Again, ba, 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 ee, bum, ba, ba. Start moving, doing a forward pattern. I may as well do the whole thing facing the other direction from the beginning. So let's do that. Five. So, oh, you're on time. Pretty good. Any questions, and then we'll move on. What do we got? What do we got? See if I missed any. The more often you can do the footwork facing away from the camera, the better for me. You got it. I'm sure you're not the only one who feels that way. Okay, I'm going to move on. If you have questions, just throw them out there anyway, and I'll get to it after I add a little bit more. So the next step we're going to do by itself, I'll do forward and back, is this one. That's the base step, okay? That is toe, heel, jab, toe, right? Then toe, heel, jab, heel. How do we do? Can you see my feet? Can you understand what my feet are doing? I'll say it out. Toe, heel, jab, toe, heel, jab. Toe, heel, jab, heel. Yeah? Back, 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 back. Right? And then it all starts all over again. Left side. Right. Hopefully you're getting that, okay? That's going to be our step we're going to travel out of. So we go, ah, ah. All right? That is like a full round of, I think, tientos compás. Facing the other way. Is the idea. It's duples and quadruplets. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Let's put it together from here. I'll do it facing the other way. I won't count. Here we go. Ba, 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 e, ba, ba, e. Ba. All right. The arms, as with most of this Escobilla, are going to be side, side. and then when I do the long variation, arms up the side, down the middle. So I'll show it forward and backward. I go. I stay here because I'm traveling. The reason I'm keeping it here is because I'm traveling in a circle and I'm keeping my focus over my front shoulder. So when I did all right, let's try it together. Let's go from this same step. Ready? Not bad. All the way to the front on the right. You want to put it all together? Let's do the whole thing with rhythm. How do we do? Any questions? We're coming up to the end of the Escobilla. I think we might even be able to finish it today. So, I had an idea for an ending. Let me work through it. Practice on your own for a second. I got a question. Practice on your own for a second. All good, Diego says. Thank you, Diego. Okay. Hopefully you know what a subida is, because we're going to do one. So subida step, I'm going to show it to you now. If we have time, we'll tie it together with the last bit of phrasing in the Escobilla. So subida to subir means to take up, and in this case we're talking about the tempo. Vamos a subir, no, with our step. So I'll do it front and back. Without the heels, I'm just going. So those are all golpes. What happens is, this is my base, this is my on the beat golpe, and the other one is my contratiempo golpe. It's hard for me to do the palmas at the same time. Is the idea. Facing away slowly. Okay, is the pattern. If you want to put heels, you can. Putting heels in between just means now I'm holding time with my heels, so I'm going. Facing the other direction. Okay? So we start at the tempo we're at with that kind of step, and then we gradually build it. Don't go too fast, too quickly, or your guitarists and your palmeros won't be able to catch up. Unless you set something to where there's an abrupt cut, and then they go. But if you're just communicating and nobody knows what's coming next, and you want to do a subida, you can, but you have to build it. So if our tempo is here, I have to be here. Then I can start building it a little faster. So you get the idea. And it's, guess what we're about to do? Close. So this whole Escobilla has been a rhythmic build plus a big subida at the end to close. Now the reason I'm putting it together this way is because most good Escobillas do that. They go somewhere, right? You can do a lot of different things at advanced stages, but right now, a simple Escobilla should have a nice little start, and it should continue to build up until a big close. So when I gave you an opening llamada for your tientos, that was a big signal for your singer to sing a letra for you. And then we would dance that letra. In our case, I'm going to keep it minimal, so we're not doing a lot of rhythmic stuff. So we're listening to the cante. And then as the cante resolves, we can come in with an Escobilla to take that and build it up again. Then once we built up this Escobilla and had a big close, guess what happens next? Another letra. Yeah? So it's just a nice way of keeping the energy going, right? You have to be a pretty good dancer to not do a lot of building in between letras. And you have to have really good singers and maybe multiple singers for them to be able to keep giving you letras that give energy. Because if you're not doing much and they're singing all these letras, you have to be doing something with your presence or with your upper body that carries and builds tension and energy, okay? So that's my little communication blurb in this video today. But let's go ahead and put all the stuff together, including arms, from the beginning. What did I say to do? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let's do the subida step together, okay? We're going to go slow and then we're going to build it. So we're going to start. Good. E. Start going faster. Okay, that's the idea. Let's go ahead and set how many of those we're going to do now. So we're going to do one that's fairly slow, and then we're going to really build the second phrase. So the first phrase is this. We're at this tempo. I won't even do the heels. Little pick up. Okay? Let's try that again. Slow, then build it. I'm not going to do heels. You can do heels if you want, if you know how. The idea, okay? Let's transition, let's put that together with the step before it. So the step before it without the turn, without the circling was just here. Let's put it all together with some rhythm and then we'll call it a night. Top of the Escobilla. Here we go. 3. So since we were doing that to a beat, we didn't take the tempo up because then we would have been away from the beat. But that second phrase of that subida step that we just did is where we would take up the tempo. And then there's another subida step that's making the same sound, but we corner our bodies differently. The footwork's a little bit different. That's the next part we're going to add. Then we'll have a big close. Then you almost have an entire Escobilla right there. When that happens, I'm going to break the entire thing down super, super slow. So you can study it, rewind it, go back and look at it as many times as you need to. Before we wrap up, I just want to thank you all again. Number one, this has been therapeutic for me. I love getting out and engaging with the world and sharing what little I know about flamenco. And, just it was given freely to me by a wonderful family and wonderful people in Albuquerque there, the Insignias family. And now I freely want to give it out to you. I don't turn away contributions, however. But yes, I really appreciate you all. Anybody have any questions about that footwork or about anything we did in class today? Did you have any questions about technical stuff? Did you have any questions about a particular exercise? Do you have any questions about the mechanics of any of that footwork? Is this subida step a new idea to you, and maybe this is completely new and you don't quite have the footwork just yet? These are the kinds of questions I'm happy to answer for you. If I don't see anything pop up in a few seconds, I'll go ahead and call it a night. But I love you guys worldwide. Thank you so much. Here in Tucson, love you all. Albuquerque, my hometown, New Mexico, I love you. You guys stay safe. Stay healthy. I'm going to try to do the same. God bless.